What's going on, guys? It is Shmeet back here with another video, and today we're going to look at what the Hornets can do in free agency, because that's going to be a big testament of how good our team is next year. Who we sign in free agency, who we don't sign in free agency is going to be a big part of our team for the future. And this is looking at the 2021 NBA free agency big board. See who's on the board. There's going to be a lot of free agents this year. A lot of people that re-signed, like Giannis. Who is the other superstar that re-signed? AD, that wasn't as recent, but AD re-signed as well. Kawhi Leonard did not re-sign, and Clippers are down 0-2, so maybe he'll go to the Charlotte Hornets. Probably not, though. But let's get into it. So, 22-16, we got Dennis Schroeder. I don't think he's going to go back to the Lakers, even though he's playing video games like every night with LeBron and AD. I think he's going to want his money. And the Lakers are pretty strapped on cash. So, Montrezl Harrell with a player option. Does he take that player option? Probably not, because he's probably going to get paid. Probably not going to go to the Charlotte Hornets, though, because we already offered him a contract last offseason, and it was more money than the Lakers, and he picked the Lakers. So, if we do bring him in, I don't know how much of a positive he would be. He's a smaller center, so I don't know how well he would fit with LaMelo. I think he's the same height as P.J. Washington, although they play very different games, but let's keep going. Kelly Oubre Jr. Does Golden State bring him back with Clay coming back? Maybe as a safety net if they can make the cash work. That's another interesting one. I feel like Kelly Oubre would be really good on the Mavericks. I don't know why. Just he's a shooting wing, and I think that the Mavericks just love those guys. They have Josh Richardson. They have Tim Hardaway Jr., and I think Kelly Oubre kind of fits that mold. So we got Josh Richardson. Speaking of Josh Richardson, he has a player option. I mean, that's a player that the Hornets could pick up. We really do need a defensive wing. I mean, Miles Bridges sometimes fits that category defensively, but I think he's starting to focus more offensively. Gordon Hayward can kind of hold his own, but I feel like we need a true defensive wing, like someone that focuses primarily on defense. Right here we got Devontae Graham, restricted. Let's see what they say about him. Devontae Graham, trust the math. He shoots 37.7% from the field. But since nearly 3/4 of his shots come from three, he managed a 51%. Sub 40, blah, blah, blah. Long career, leading second units. I like how they put leading second units, because I don't see him as a starting point guard on a very good playoff team. I think he might go to the Knicks. Just because the Knicks need a backup point guard. I don't know if Derrick Rose is going to be there next year. Emmanuel quickly might fit into that starting lineup. And I think if we could do a sign and trade with one of either Nerlens Noel or Mitchell Robinson, whichever one they would pick or they would let go, the Knicks that is, I think we should do that. But I don't know if they do that. So next player we have here is Norman Powell. He has not been good in the playoffs at all. It'll be interesting what happens this offseason, because he's going to ask for a lot of money. Yeah. Spencer Dinwiddie. It'll be interesting what team picks him up. I would think it's a team like Detroit or a team like OKC, who has a lot of cap space, and they just, they need a point guard who can kind of lead their young guys for a few years. And he doesn't really mess up their tanking that much, because he's not that good of a player. So, yeah. Andre Drummond really showing that, empty stats isn't a thing with, like, Devin Booker. It isn't a thing like Zach LaVine. Like, those guys don't fit that empty stats category. But I think the only guy that does is Andre Drummond. He is, I remember he was putting up 20 and 20 for the Detroit Pistons, and everybody was like, oh, he's one of the best centers in the league. And then he gets to the Lakers, and he's putting up 10-10 and really bad efficiency. He had a better game last night, but regardless, he is. I don't want him on the Hornets. He is just a cancer. And Kelly Olynyk is a guy that I would want on the Hornets, though. He's a 3-and-D guy, very efficient. You can see with Houston, he averaged 19, 8, 4. and 2 threes and one. That is such a good stat line. Although he's the only good guy on their team. Jayshawn Tate is okay. John Wall is John Wall. Is his contract up this year or is it next year? I think it's next year. I would love Kelly Olynyk though. He could be a 4 and we could run small ball 5. He says he can do a little bit of anything from the 4 or 5. Can really open the. That's what I mean. We need a 4 or 5. I mean, PJ Washington spreads the floor, but our 5s like Bismack Biyombo and Cody Zeller just clog the paint for LaMelo, for Terry, for Devontae Graham, and we need a 5 that can really stretch the floor. And I feel like if we can have a 5 that stretches the floor, we have 5 guys on the outside. LaMelo doesn't have to worry about a defender at the block because Bismack Biyombo is at the block, so his defender is going to come over. You don't have to worry about that when we have a 5 that can actually shoot. So I think Kelly Olynyk would be an awesome offseason signing. We would have to probably overpay. He is turning 30 in April, which is fine. Duncan Robinson, going to be another hot free agent. I like that he's at 11, that they respected him to put him above players like Andre Drummond and Spencer Dinwiddie, because Duncan Robinson is very, 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 very appealing to any NBA team. It's a 3-point shooting league, and he's one of the best that does it. I don't think the Miami Heat can keep him, although I watch his podcast, literally every podcast, and I think he really likes the Miami Heat and what the opportunity they gave him. But money is money, right? And he might go to a different team. Tim Hardaway Jr. has been insane in the playoffs. A big part of that Mavs team. I think he stays with the Mavs. I think he does. Yeah, I think he does. Lowry Markkanen, restricted. Wasn't there something that came out that said he requested a trade or something like that? I wouldn't want him on the Hornets. I don't know. I don't like him that much as a player. He only averaged 13.6. Yeah. Although he's a good 3-point shooter, but I mean PJ Washington and Lowry Markkanen play pretty similar games. But yeah, DeMar DeRozan. Does he stay? Does he stay with the Spurs? I don't know. But this is really disrespectful for DeMar DeRozan to be ranked higher than Kyle Lowry. Are you kidding me? Did they even watch DeMar DeRozan this season? Like, I think that he's way more appealing to teams than Kyle Lowry. I mean, Kyle Lowry's a floor general. He gives that impact, but I think DeMar DeRozan was just on another level. Like, Kyle Lowry was not even in the conversation for an All-Star, and DeMar DeRozan was just on the cusp. He was probably the biggest snub. But yeah, he was a snub for a reason. I wouldn't take him over anybody that actually made it. But anyways, Kyle Lowry is he out of Toronto? I don't know. I feel like he was gonna end his career in Toronto. That's why it's so sad that he might leave. But regardless, DeMar DeRozan, I don't know who picks him up. I really don't. Jared Allen, I think the Caps bring him back. They just have the money to do it. He's going to be worth $25 million a year. For the Hornets, I would love to have him, but if we sign him for $26 million a year, we don't have very much money to fill out the rest of our roster, fill out our bench. So I don't see him coming to the Hornets. Other teams that he could go to. If the Clippers don't keep Kawhi, maybe he goes to the Clippers. But with any team that offers him a contract, I think the Cavs, since he is restricted, they can just match it. So Mike Conley, Mike Conley's ranked 5th on here, above DeMar DeRozan, above Jared Allen. I mean, he was an all-star, but he's not an all-star player, you know. I would say DeMar DeRozan is way better than Mike Conley. If you look at the Jazz, would they rather have Mike Conley or would they rather have DeMar DeRozan? I think they have DeMar DeRozan. Mike Conley might fit their team better, but I think DeMar DeRozan is just skill-wise and talent-wise a lot better. But where does Mike Conley go? I think he stays with the Utah Jazz. He's having one of his best seasons there. Lonzo Ball, does he leave? He's a good fit next to Zion. That's why it sucks. And I hate all these LaMelo or the Ball family fanboys who say that all the Balls should team up in Charlotte. I just hate that shit. I see their YouTube thumbnails of Jello Ball signs with the Charlotte Hornets, and I'm like, shut up. That's the only bad thing about LaMelo Ball is the fandom that comes with him. It gets annoying after a while. Just seeing all the fanboys flock, and yeah, I don't know. John Collins restricted. Has he been good in the playoffs for Atlanta? I don't know. I didn't watch a single second of the Knicks-Hawks game. I was doing something, and I saw the clips of Madison Square Garden taunting Trae Young. And I think John Collins is a big part of their team. It honestly, some of these guys who are in the playoffs, it honestly depends whether or not their team goes far in the playoffs, whether or not they re-sign with that team. Say the Hawks win this first-round series, and who would they play in the next round? I think they play the 76ers. Maybe they push the 76ers to 6 or 7 games. I think John Collins then stays with the Hawks. But say they lose in the first round. Say they lose 4 straight to the Knicks. Maybe John Collins leaves. So Chris Paul with a player option, I think he stays. He still has that max contract money, and his shoulder. It's really sad to see his shoulder, what it's doing to him. Kawhi with the player option, yeah. Wait, what was this ranking? They had John Collins 3. Okay, so they had LaMelo. Yeah, I agree with this player ranking. Maybe I would have. I said Lonzo, not LaMelo. Maybe I would have Lonzo over John Collins, Chris Paul, and then Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard, if they get bounced in this first round, he is definitely leaving. It's a lot of money to decline, though. $36 million for 1 year. Yeah, that's going to be it for me. I'll see you guys later.